The hardest thing about betrayal isn't when it comes from a stranger. It's when it comes from the one person you've loved your entire life. The night everything fell apart, I opened my apartment door expecting another quiet evening after work. Instead, I found my older brother's wife standing in the pouring rain, soaked from head to toe, trembling so badly she could barely hold her phone. Less than 24 hours later, my own brother looked me straight in the eyes and accused me of having an affair with a woman I had always treated like family. In a single moment, my reputation, my family, and my heart shattered in ways I never imagined possible. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still matters, that forgiveness can heal broken hearts, and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more real and emotional stories like this to life. My name is Nathan, and this happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. My brother Christopher had always been my hero growing up. He was stronger, smarter, and seemed to know exactly how life worked. When he married Rachel, I couldn't have been happier for them. She was warm, thoughtful, and treated everyone with genuine kindness. Their marriage looked perfect from the outside. Family dinners were filled with laughter, holiday photos showed smiling faces, and everyone believed they were living the American dream. I believed it too, but appearances have a cruel way of hiding the truth. That rainy Thursday evening, Rachel appeared outside my apartment with tears mixing into the rain on her face. Her hands were shaking so badly that she dropped her keys before I could even ask what had happened. She wasn't injured, but the fear in her eyes told me everything. Christopher had exploded during another argument. He had screamed accusations that made no sense, smashed a picture frame against the wall, and punched a hole through the bedroom door. Although he never struck her, she admitted she no longer felt safe staying there for the night. I didn't hesitate. She was family. I handed her a towel, made a cup of hot coffee, and gave her my bedroom while I slept on the couch. We barely spoke after that because she was emotionally exhausted. The apartment remained silent, except for the sound of rain tapping against the windows and the distant traffic outside. The next morning, I left early for work before she even woke up. Around lunchtime, my phone started exploding with calls and messages. My mother demanded to know how I could betray my own brother. My aunt sent a heartbreaking message saying she expected better from me. Friends stopped answering my texts. Then Christopher posted on social media that his own brother had stolen his wife. It felt like my entire world stopped spinning. No matter how many times I tried calling Christopher, he refused to answer. By evening, he finally arrived at my apartment. His face burned with rage as neighbors watched from their balconies. He shouted that he knew Rachel had spent the night with me. In his mind, there was only one explanation. Nothing I said mattered. The truth couldn't compete with the story he had already convinced himself was real. What hurt even more was watching people believe him without asking a single question. At work, whispers followed me through the hallways. Some coworkers avoided eye contact. Others looked at me with disappointment. My manager quietly suggested I take a few personal days until things settled down. Years of building trust disappeared overnight because of one accusation. Meanwhile, Rachel vanished. She ignored everyone's calls except one. A week later, she contacted my mother and asked the entire family to meet at my grandparents' house. Nobody knew why. I almost didn't go. Walking through that front door felt like stepping into a courtroom where everyone had already decided I was guilty. Christopher stood on one side of the room with crossed arms. Several relatives wouldn't even look at me. My chest felt heavy, but I stayed because running away would only make me appear guilty. Rachel entered carrying a folder. Without saying much, she placed printed photographs, phone records, counseling appointment confirmations, and copies of police incident reports onto the dining table. One by one, she explained everything Christopher had hidden from everyone for over a year. His uncontrollable jealousy had become unbearable. He constantly checked her phone, tracked her location, accused her of cheating with coworkers, neighbors, and even cashiers at grocery stores. He had isolated her from friends, until she barely recognized herself anymore. The night she came to my apartment wasn't about romance. It was about survival. She had nowhere else to go. She showed everyone security camera footage from my apartment building. The video clearly proved I left for work before sunrise, while she remained inside. Another camera showed her leaving alone several hours later, carrying the same overnight bag she arrived with. There was nothing inappropriate, nothing secretive, nothing shameful. Only fear, silence filled the room. Christopher stared at the evidence as though reality itself had betrayed him. The anger disappeared from his face, replaced by confusion and regret. He looked at me, but I couldn't return the gaze. Some wounds cut too deeply. The apologies began immediately. My mother cried harder than I had ever seen before. Relatives admitted they should have listened before judging me. Friends slowly reached out over the following weeks. Even coworkers apologized after the truth spread throughout the office. But forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting. The hardest part wasn't rebuilding my reputation. It was rebuilding my heart after realizing how quickly people abandon someone they claim to love. One false accusation had exposed how fragile trust can truly be. Christopher eventually entered therapy, after acknowledging that his jealousy had destroyed everything he valued most. Rachel filed for divorce, not because she hated him, but because she understood love cannot survive where fear lives every day. Sometimes the greatest act of courage is walking away from someone you once believed you'd spend forever with. Months later, Christopher visited my apartment again. This time, there was no shouting, only tears. He admitted he had allowed insecurity to become stronger than love. He confessed that every accusation had come from his own fear of not being enough, rather than anything Rachel had actually done. He apologized for destroying my name and our relationship. I didn't hug him immediately. Pain deserves honesty. But I also realized that carrying bitterness forever would only continue the damage already done. Slowly, over time, we rebuilt our relationship brick by brick. It would never be exactly what it once was, but sometimes healing doesn't mean returning to the past. It means creating something wiser from the broken pieces. Rachel eventually found peace in another city, where she started over with a new career and a quiet life. We stayed in respectful contact, not because of romance, but because surviving painful chapters creates a unique understanding between people. Looking back now, I often think about that rainy night outside my apartment. A simple act of compassion nearly cost me everything. Yet if time somehow turned backward, I would still open that door again. Kindness always carries risks, but refusing to help someone in need would have been a far greater failure. If this story has touched your heart, please let us know where you're watching from in the comments. And share one lesson you believe everyone should learn about trust, forgiveness, or family. Special request, comment below with the words, "Kindness will always be stronger than lies." If you believe compassion is never a mistake, thank you for staying until the very end. If this story moved you, reminded you of someone you love, or inspired you to choose understanding over judgment, please like this video, share it with friends and family, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful stories that remind us even the darkest moments can lead us back to hope, healing, and the strength to believe in people once again.